Queen Mother yucking news, a bomber. You all read it, you all seen it. If you just woke up having your coffee and probably spit it out, or going, yes, Bruno Fernandes, a bomber from FABRIZIO Romano, is saying that he is rejecting the Saudi bid. Massive news for Manchester United fan. Is it Bruno Fernandes forcing the hands with the United board, seeing what they're going to sign? Matías Cunha is over the line. The Mbeuno story is heating up. He only wants Manchester United. The outs, what's going on with Jadon Sancho? We're going to speak about that one. What is the latest with Victor Gyökeres and the remaining ins and outs as well? Guys, welcome back to Mufc Realist TV. This is Mick Ruby back in the studio after the Asian tour. Do me a massive favor. This is going to be a massive show since I haven't done live for a very, very long time. Please do me a favor. Let's jump right into the show, shall we? Like and subscribe, and here we go.
And Garnacho!
Has the Premier League ever been more challenging?
Will you be in the dugouts at Old Trafford on Sunday? I will be here. Definitely.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, let's go, Bruno, Captain Bruno, and Ruben Amorim. You remember that Ruben Amorim, in his farewell speech, when we finish off the poor season, had a speech to the fans and say, yeah, this is the beginning of the new start. And he counted Bruno Fernandes as being a key figure in that rebuild. And God, and lo and behold, people, how are we feeling today? Captain Bruno is rejecting, according to the news. We're going to sort of dive right into it because at the end of the day, it was reported by no other than, let's see, FABRIZIO Romano. Hang on a second. FABRIZIO Romano exclusive, dropping a bomb a couple of minutes ago. That is a mega bomb, mother of all bombs. Probably the biggest story of the transfer window because Bruno Fernandes is such a sort player. Exclusive, Bruno Fernandes has rejected Al Hilal proposal. Despite crazy contract proposals from the Saudi Pro League, they were pushing. It was like that movie Indecent Proposal. If you know, when that movie, when some billionaire offers $1 million to sleep with the guy's wife and they're loyal. And basically he went ahead, but Bruno said no to the indecent proposal. According to Bruno Fernandes, wants to continue to play football in Europe. Man United captain wants to play on top level in Europe. Decision has been made. Guys, let me know your thoughts and feelings regarding this. I want to dive right into the chat as well. And also in the Q&A section, I've actually shared a sort of call-in link. So please, at the end of the show as well, come in, have your say. Let me know what you think, because at the end of the day, a lot of fans were getting giddy to say that, yay, Mick, you know what? We're going to utilize that 100 million, 150 million to reinvest in the squad. But actually, I'm going to tell you a reason why we don't have to as well. So stick around for that one. Big up for everyone that's tuning in. How you all doing? Let me see. Go right into the chat. And Jamie Wen comes in with a flying uppercut to say, why is he staying? Absolutely joke. He was the knickers and the relationship clearly. Well, why is he staying? That is a life-changing money. It's like the indecent proposal, Jamie. If you were offered 200 million, that's generational saving money. At the end of the day, Bruno Fernandes is loyal. He is. And I tweeted this, basically. I tweeted this to say, guess what? Bruno Fernandes seems to be forcing the move, forcing the hand of Man United, right? I said it. You can go and check it out on my Twitter page that Bruno holds all the cards. He's listening to the Saudi offer, stalling the decision, simply puts pressure on the United board to try harder to recruit players who wants win with demanding ambition. That it was his message in my understanding, what I understood, right? You remember that cryptic message, he said, I want people to try harder. So basically, yes, of course, we didn't make Europe, the final people were down tooling. He was trying. But at the end of the day, Bruno Fernandes has been the most pivotal, player ever since he came in. Legendary status, in my opinion. Nobody has ever put in that outputs like Bruno, the goals and assists. Where does that kind of come from? And do you actually trust the board to replace? And where can you find such a player such as Bruno, in my opinion? So for me, it was Bruno Fernandes forcing the moves, portraying a message, stalling it flirting with Saudi, 100% undecent proposal, and to say, look, guys, I'm leaving if you're not going to strengthen the squad. And lo and behold, we signed Cunha. Lo and behold, we heard that Mbeuno only wants Manchester United, the David Ornstein bomber. But guys, let me know in the comment section. Get involved, get involved. Box is coming in to say Bruno, 100%. Jamie Van again coming in. Oh, but my wife said, no, you man or mouse, mate. Well, this thing is like, you got to sort of weigh it up. Like, it's tax-free money, Jamie, at the end of the day. You got to weigh it up. But you're also going to look at family. We know that Bruno Fernandes is such a family man. So family matters everything for him. And his ambition, right? If he can be part of the Manchester United project, if they start building a squad around him, which we clearly haven't done him before, of course he's going to stay. The lucrative money from Saudi can still come. And Saudi was kind of desperate. They wanted him only to buy him for the Club World Championship. And then what? Then what is the next project? So I sort of support Bruno's decision at the end of the day. And god damn, we still have Bruno. And imagine how we can build a squad around Bruno. Adding on goals, adding on Matías Cunha, 15 goals, adding on Mbeuno, 20 goals. And then you mix it up with Xerxes, with Ahmad. You recruit in a midfielder like types of Edison, which we're going to talk about as well. Great seeing United fans crying that Bruno is staying. I just don't understand why. The decision within the fan base, some fans are like saying, oh, get rid of Bruno. Here's the problem. It's never been the problem, mate. The problem is, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, is that we never recruited players around Bruno or Pogba or whatever we had. That was it. We didn't have a like-for-like replacement that can rotate. So he played every single game, right? He's such an important player. If you're never injured, if you're always available, that is value. That is key performance index, in my opinion. So Jamie's crying to say, no, he still wants to go. I hear you, Jamie, right? Because at the end of the day, let's park this, right? Because I'm going to tell you why. We still have money to spend despite losing out on getting into Europa League, and despite Bruno saying no. You know what I mean? Yale Malmin, big up. Good morning, Yale. I get my wish. I get to see Cunha Bruno play together. Yes. Yeah. I mean, that might be something that Bruno was thinking about. Wow, we're getting Cunha. Wow, we're getting Mbeuno. It must be presented by the board to say, this is the targets that we're going for. Are we getting a Gyökeres? Let's talk about that later on as well, before I dive into the stories. Big up, good morning, Yale Malmini. United also sold Sancho today. Yes, they did. And we get money for Alvaro, which means that there is no money left for Mr. Gyökeres or Ozzy. Listen, Yale, you actually jumping the gun here, because that was kind of the next point of my story here. The thing is that why we are going for Mbeuno now is exactly what you said. Sancho, 25 million. The sell-on fee, 50% for Real Madrid for, Alvaro Fernandes. That is 50 million. No wonder you can then go on the transfer market before the 1st of July to get another number 10. That was the priority, right? And it's never going to be 50 million anyway, because they're going to split it in amortization in 5 installments. So, having to say that, do your maths and calculation. Man United, according to the reports, according to whoever was it to say, Mike Keegan was saying that we have 120 million to spend before sales. So you do your maths and calculations, right? If you do amortization, right? Let's see, Matías Cunha, 60 million divided by 3. That's the first installment of what? Approximately 20 million. Then you do Mbeuno, another 10 to 20 million. That's 40 million spent, 30 million spent. You still have what, 70 million to spend on the market. And you do the same thing with Gyökeres. You feel me, right? You're never going to pay the upfront fee, because Man United have a brilliant relationship with Sporting. And you know what? They're going to most likely do the amortization, so we can still afford it. That is what it is. You know what I mean? And Sancho, by the way, there was some reports saying that he was offered, his camp wanted 200, but he was offered maximum 140, because that's the Chelsea wage bill. And of course, he doesn't want to come back to United. Where should he go? Potentially go to Erik Ten Hag. Ten Hag, big up, and he's probably going to hoover up most of our rejects. So anyway, big up. That's massive news, because there was reports saying that, Sancho coming back. All right, guys. Anyway, I was 95% what Jarle Marine is saying. I was 95% sure he was staying myself. Me too. Me too. I have a sneak feeling that he loves the club too much. Too much. Box is saying here, time to start offloading Rashford, Sancho, Anthony, Onana, Bayandir, and Malacia. 100%. And they club is, according to my opinion, coming back from the agent or speaking to the backroom staff, is that we are definitely offloading Onana, Bayandir, Malacia. Rashford seems to be going to Barcelona. Sancho is staying at Chelsea. So we should see. And what's going on with Luke Shaw? He's also on the chopping block. So who's going to take a Luke Shaw? Potentially some relegation club. And we're going to speak about Højlund as well later on. Ridwan in the house saying, good morning, Ridwan. I want him sold. Amrit doesn't rate him as a number 10. We have signed Cunha, Mbeuno, and he's also coming in. Then we get reports saying the Man United wants to one athletic number 8. Bruno isn't that. Yeah, but Bruno is a deep playing playmaker. Like Bruno as a number 10. If you look at the first season under Erik ten Hag, where did Bruno play, right? He had potentially he had Rashford. He had the strikers of Cavani. He had Anthony Martial, and he was playing behind them. So that was the best season under Bruno. And now you're adding on Acuna, you're adding on Mbeuno, and you're adding on like Xerxes, you're adding on like Amad Diallo. Bruno can be that expensive free flower in the number 8 position. But we're also going to look at Edison from Atalanta, which has legs. Well, anyway, so that is my opinion and my opinion alone. But I hear you, and I sort of acknowledge what you're saying, everyone, as well. So let me see what Barman is saying as well. Big up. Good morning, Barman. Good morning, Mick and the realist. Good morning to you. And I apologize that I haven't been live. You know, I've been traveling as you've been following the channel. I've been on the Asian tour. And it was, I'm going to tell you about the Asian tour. It was a little bit grim, in my opinion. The mood amongst the players was really bad. The fans were booing out the place on the stadium, demanding new signings. And it felt like, you know, dead rubber. Like, you know, we just went there to collect the 8 million. We were so broke at the end of the day. So listen, it is what it is. You know, Man United needs to sort of invest heavily now in the squad over the summer, because guess what? Like, you know, the window just opened, but it's open for 10 days. And then you have the club championship. It closes and it opens up again. So Man United have already aligned the ducks in the target. They are speaking to Victor Gyökeres, and they have absolutely presented the vision for Victor. So I'm going to talk about that one as well. Mawa, what you're saying here. Good morning. Big update about Osman deal. Wow. As well, when we have Delices in the house. United, I wanted Danny Munoz, Pedro Gonzalez, Mbeuno, Emil Martinez, Torres, Mitrovic, and Gonzalo. Yeah, what about this story regarding Mitrovic, man? Right, from Ben Jacobs. What do you think about that Mitrovic story? Like a 31-year-old striker from Al Hilal. I think that is off the table now, right? You know, and that doesn't really make any sense if you look at Manchester United's transfer policy. Why would we sign a 31-year-old washed-out striker? I mean, yes, he is a beast. He's a monster. He's so good in the air, constant threat, but doesn't really make sense to pay 40 million for a 31-year-old. So I think it was pretty much an agent feeding, you know, Ben Jacobs the story to generate attraction among other clubs. And that's typical what happens in the transfer window. Lee Parker in the house. Good morning, Lee Parker. Well, that's shirt news to wake up to. Yeah, 100%. Whatever you're drinking, pin back your ears. Cheers. Bruno Fernandes is staying. Mr. Magnifico captain. I'm happy. And the reason why I'm happy, because we're going to break this down. Like, you know, imagine then building a squad around Bruno. We'd be potent, right? If we were lost Bruno, would you trust the establishment to actually reinvest and buy the next Bruno, right? The thing is, with Jim Ratcliffe, I'm sorry if I'm stuttering here now, but I'm worried about Jim Ratcliffe. He's definitely involved, you know. He's the one that sets the vision. He's the one that's doing all the cost cutting, right? And he's the one that said, we're not here to buy Mbappe. We are here to find the next Mbappe. So what confidence do you have then, if we would have sold Bruno Fernandes, that we actually replace a like for Bruno? Most likely, United would just go and get a Diblin, right? An upcoming Bruno. And this is what we don't want. 100%. No selling Bruno, what Chile 123 is saying. Big up Chile. George Banda, what she's saying here, my friend. Cunha, Bruno, Mbeuno in, we will have a serious goal threat, 100%. Goals, 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 not Paul Scholes. You know what I mean? The pundits are going to cry tears here now. Paul Scholes and all of them, right? This news totally ruined my day. And why? Expand on that. Expand on that, Rams. Seriously, why does it ruin your day? Did you want Bruno out, or was it for reason that, we will get 150 million to reinvest in the squad? Please continue with your comment. Please add on more context to why. Great news according to Barman as well. And 100%, but I agree with you, Box. Amarim wanted him to stay 100%. Yes. Good morning to you as well, Barman. Good morning, good morning. And let's see. Yeah, listen, let's continue with the stories, right? Let's continue with what's going on with Victor Gyökeres, right? Listen, I'm just going to put it out there, guys, use your common sense, right? Arsenal tried hard. Andrea Berta, yeah. Intensified talks, pushing. Why? Because they knew that if Man United came in, he would choose Man United, right? Yeah. Why all of a sudden did they just go and focus the attention on Benjamin Sesko? Sesko was one of the targets for a long time. Sesko with Arsenal was a project that was supposed to happen in January. Now Sesko forced to move. He's leaving, RB Leipzig, and there we go. No Gyökeres to Arsenal. Okay, Chelsea. Heavily linked to him as well, heavily linked to Osimhen as well. It looks like they snubbed Man United on Liam Delap, and they look like they're going for Etikike, right? So Chelsea, they go for the youngsters. They're not going to go for either Osimhen, and they're not going to go for Gyökeres. Yeah. Okay, then we heard Liverpool. Potentially they're getting rejected for Florian Wirtz. Florian Wirtz is the main top target. They put a table on the bid on 120, was rejected, and Bayern Leverkusen, they want 150. So they cannot afford to go to get a Sesko or Victor Gyökeres at the end of the day. Yeah. Then we saw that Juventus came in with a bid that also got snubbed. Yeah. That also, we see PSG was also snubbed. Yeah. Then we see that also the latest that, Atletico Madrid and, Simone wants to put a bid in. Does it really want to go to Spanish league, and does it really fit? Well, that was kind of paper talk. So what does it sort of say to you at the end of the day? Where is it going to go? Barcelona don't have money. Real Madrid fully stocked, don't have money. So I leave it up to you without even saying anything at the end of the day. I believe my following personal feeling, and this is what I've been hearing as well. The Man United already had gentleman's agreement long time ago. When Ruben left, Sporting, he said there's one player that I want to bring, and that is no other than Victor Gyökeres. And then fast track a little bit forward, 4 weeks ago, when he was asked about the links regarding Gyökeres. Remember that interview? I think we played Royal Betis, and he basically popped it straight to Victor Gyökeres to say, well, you should come to play for the shirt, not just for a club competition. That was a direct dig, at Gyökeres. And ever since then, Man United have been having conversations with his agent and himself. So important days. I believe that at the end of the day, Man United presented the project, the vision. They said to him, you will get 250K a week, 5 years contract deal. This is what's on the line. And plus, if you come make us into the top 4, you get additional bonuses as well. So this is what I've been told. However, nobody really knows from there, right? But you can put 2 and 2 together to say, why all these rejections? That only leaves Man United in the race, doesn't it? But when it's silence, good news is always, no news is always good news, in my opinion. So is it Man United managed to convince him to come play without, Champions League? I think that this Champions League is utilized a lot by media. Players, they do want to come to play for Champions League, but they certainly sign up for the project, and they see themselves in Man United shirt and the project. They see themselves as the savior. If I come to Man United, what will be my role? What will I, will I be a club legend? What if I, Gyökeres, come in and take Man United back to the glory days? I'm 26 years of age. I can miss 1 year of Champions League and make Manchester United come back to the Champions League, right? This is what players usually think, right? It's not always about Champions League, but it's also about money, right? If you get 250k a week, 300k a week, Man United can afford that. 100%, especially with the wage bill of Rashford's going up, right? Especially with the wage bill with Eriksen going up. There's a lot of players going up, potentially Casemiro going up. Man United can afford these guys, right? So will he be a Man United player? In my opinion, don't clip me. We're just fans discussing, right? It's all down to the finances at the end of the day. Man United have presented the vision. They presented where they see, like, you know, where he sees with, you know, in this project, where he's going to be. And of course, Ruben Amorim plays the important factor, right? It's a plug and play. It is a plug and play. So this is a player that can hit the ground running straight away, right? And by the way, sorry about that. My news is going all over the shop here. So answer me this, like, you know, answer me this. You know, if everyone has been rejected, what's left? And at the end of the day, you know, Ruben Amorim made him, right? You can say that, yeah, well, he's not, you know, Premier League proven. Yeah, well, he played at Brentford. He did. And no, he played at Brighton. He played at Coventry. I mean, his numbers was really good at Coventry as well. And then he's like the Golden Boot winner 2 years in a row. And why such a striker for that price? It's been silenced and been rejected, you know, by so many clubs. That only can tell you that he wants Man United. Man United has sort of keeping the sort of trump cards to the chest. And this might be sort of a, you know, come July, you know, just to say, well, ta-da, we made it. Gyökeres, bum, marquee signing. But anyway, guys, that is just my opinion at the end of the day. Like, I don't know everything, but what I've been hearing is that you know, I've been saying that for a long time that, you know, this deal has always been on, and this still been talking for months and months, right? But you got to sort of ask yourself the question, you know, why all of a sudden all the big clubs have sort of focused attention on the targets? They must have been told that, you know, there's a gentleman's agreement and he's going to United. Just my opinion, right? Anyway, 2 mid, 1 def, 1 striker. Listen, at the end of the day, guys, sorry about this. I got to put this on silence. So got to put this phone on silence because it's absolutely going mental, guys. At the end of the day, what I want to say, what was I going to say? Yes. Well, what do you think we need to sort of reinforce at the end of the day? Like, you know, centre back, we need to replace potentially Lindelof, potentially Johnny Evans as well, but also we do have academy players that can do the role, like Aiden Heaven, for instance, and Goodwill and Kunki as well. So, by the way, I saw him in the preseason tour. He's amazing, right? Sort of post-season tour, he was amazing in Kuala Lumpur. But still, I think the Man United need to go invest in a central midfielder with energy, right? And that one is Edison. My good friend Alfredo Padula, Italian sports journalist that we had on the channel many times before, that he was the one that broke regarding Rasmus Højlund or Nana to Man United. We had him on the channel, spoke to him recently, and he said that keep your eyes on Edison. That's still from Atalanta, still ongoing. Man United still have a good relationship. But however, he also told me about Rasmus Højlund to Inter Milan. And that is a loan with a potential option to buy. Man United sees that if they can cash in on Højlund, by the way, that would be something. But however, if you loan out Højlund and sell him next year, you have a bigger profit. Because if you sell him now, you will make a loss. So keep your eyes on that one. And that will be something come in when 1st of July, basically, when the new PSR window starts as well. But however, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, we see that Ain't Nori is being linked now to City. I will go in all in for that one. We already made the business with Wolves. I just go in, we need wingbacks, right? I don't think that Patrick Dogu is good enough on the left. I don't think that Ahmad is good enough either as a right wing back, but he certainly do the job. And so Amorim's system is very heavily dependent on the wing backs. So I say we need to reinforce the wing back situation. You know, there's not a done deal yet for Gyökeres to Liverpool, but I just go straight in. You know, how much do you want Gyökeres? Bang. Ain't Nori? Bang. There you go. There you go. What do you think? You know, And 100% goalkeeper, right? We've seen that, you know, Barcelona is now Barcelona is now being linked to our target. You know, what's his name? The Espanyol goalkeeper. Please help me in the chat. I'm so tired. Just jet lag. What was his name? I forgot. Anyway, so, but we also saw that Real Madrid is also in for that same goalkeeper. That means that All Black is leaving, right? So Man United would definitely replace Onana, 100%. Guys, anyway, I am super tired. I just wanted to come in and break the news. Let me know what you think at the end of the day. I'm just going to see the poll, which I created as well. And I'm sorry if I'm a little bit rusty today. I haven't done a live stream for a very, very long time. And basically, I'm going to end the poll here, guys. And the poll is, are you happy Bruno rejected Saudi and staying United? 73% of you said yes. And that speaks volume, people. Thank you. I'm going to end this poll. And thank you for tuning in. We will be back later on with more news, with more transfer news, now that we are back in the normal action. Guys, it's been Mick Ruby from Mufc Realist TV. Do not forget to like and subscribe and have a fantastic rest of your day. I need to get back to my messages because I'm getting mad news coming in from my sources as well. Guys, see you to the next one. Glory, glory, Manchester United. I'm out of here. Peace. Bye.